Hello, everybody. I'm Jimmy Chu, one of the co-founders of Nanoleaf. I think after watching all of these presentations, everyone realizes that the world is full of problems. Whether it's energy consumption, food, waste, water, these are all problems that have only recently arisen due to the way that we as people have been living on the planet. What I've realized, though, is that people aren't going to change their ways. People have been living this way for so long, and they're often thinking, what can I do as an individual to make a difference? I think in order to create change, what we really need is a movement in the people. Us as a collective, we can make a difference, but the challenge is, how do we accomplish that? I think in China, it's pretty clear that any time you really want to create a movement in the people, what it really takes is support from the government. Us at Nanoleaf, we're working hard to create products and innovation that really make it easier for the individual to make a difference. As she introduced earlier today, this is my best friend as well as my business partner, Christian Yan, and he will share with you a little bit about the passion behind our company.
Nanoleaf 在中文我们喜欢叫绿诺节能科技，绿诺一个 Green Promise。那在 Nanoleaf 我们的抱负 ，our passion 就是可以每天推广还有研发更创新的绿色的科技。通过我们的产品，我们可以改变世界。怎么改变世界呢？那是通过我们产品到不同的行业，每个行业可能今天是照明，明天可能是太阳能，到每个行业提高这个行业的能源利用的效率。这样子，我们公司可以扩大我们对世界的影响。Now, behind me is the statistics in 2013 for the global electricity consumption. Now, actually, I heard some good news reading the newspapers today that China and Russia made a $400 billion gas line deal. And just to let you know, this is because China is forecasting there will be a high demand of energy and electricity consumption in the next 5 to 20 years. So what can we do as an end consumer to maybe reduce this consumption a little? What can we do to impact the world? So now, on average, about 10% of all electricity used goes towards household lighting, or lighting you see here. So now what does this mean for China? How does it affect us in China? Well, in China, it's actually around 12% that goes towards lighting. To give everyone an example, I think everyone reads in the newspaper that air quality across all of Asia is a serious problem that we're facing. And this is something that the government and the nation as a whole wants to deal with and is trying to push initiatives to deal with. Now, maybe if we think, what are these problems coming from? Well, part of the problem is from all the coal-based power plants that's generating a lot of CO2 emissions because they need to generate a lot of power to satisfy the nation's electricity demand. So they're generating all this power and putting all these 二氧化碳排放 into the air, right? So what if we can cut that down by half, just half, by using the world's most energy-efficient light bulb? We could actually save up to 280 billion kilowatt hours. That actually means we can eliminate around 50 coal-based power plants across the nation. That's a huge impact, and that's what Nanoleaf wants to do.
I think we could all agree that we only have this one planet called home. At Nanoleaf, we recognize the value in working hard to protect this planet so that we could have a brighter future. So the three of us, actually, Nanoleaf, there's three partners. There's Christian, myself, and Tom, who's in our office in Shenzhen right now. We met about 7 years ago at the University of Toronto. We were actually building a car that was fully powered off of solar energy. So this car ended up racing all around that world, and during this time, we developed a strong passion for creating products that were very, very energy efficient. About 4 years ago, we actually got back together here in Guangzhou to start working on our very first product. And we launched this first product about a year ago. We launched it on a crowdfunding website called Kickstarter, and we raised about 1.5 million renminbi. And that product is what you see here. So this is the Nanoleaf LED light bulb. So using only about 12 watts of electricity, it generates the same amount of light as up to a 115-watt incandescent light bulb. So like I mentioned before, we actually started developing this here in Guangzhou. And the way that we actually came up with the idea was, we're at the Canton Fair, the Guangzhou Fair, one of the biggest fairs here that's held twice a year. We're walking through the fair, and we're looking through all this different energy-efficient technology. And we found a whole bunch of suppliers that were selling these new LED chips. And these LED chips, we found that this was amazing new technology that was just rising here in China. What we found were these chips were up to about 150 lumens per watt. And for those of you that don't know, a lumen is a measure of perceived light by the human eye. So 150 lumens per watt, this is about 10 times more efficient than your old light bulbs. So we thought this was amazing. This is the future. But what was strange was when we started looking at the light bulbs that were being created, they were nowhere close to as efficient. The light bulbs were only about 70 lumens per watt. So the chips, they were 150 lumens per watt, but the bulbs were only 70 lumens per watt. And we thought, where is this energy going? Where is it all disappearing to? So we did some digging, and this is what we found. On your right side, you have your typical LED light bulb. You could recognize it by the big heat sink that they usually have. And usually, for those of you that know science, whenever you see a huge heat sink, that just means there's a lot of energy being wasted by heat, right? Instead of converting the electricity to light, it's being converted to heat energy. And that was a whole bunch of waste. The reason for it was, there was a couple reasons for it. One was the power supply. Usually the power supply in these typical LED light bulbs were only about 80% efficient, which means 20% of the energy was lost right away. They usually used a big dome at the top, and that was actually trapping a lot of the light inside, internally, into the LED. What we decided to do was we decided to completely re-engineer the light bulb from the ground up. We created our own power supply that was about 95% efficient. We used a new method of folding PCBs into the shape of a light bulb in order to get the light to go in all directions. We also custom designed our own LED chips so that it would be a lot more energy efficient than your typical light bulb. And what we ended up with was something that was about 50% more efficient than your typical LED light bulb. So one of the unique aspects of it is also that it doesn't overheat. So with your typical LED light bulb, it usually heats up like crazy, and that's why there's a big heat sink on there. If somebody from the media would like to come up here and try it out, how about the young lady over there? Like you can see, that, like with your usual light bulb, when you leave it on for a while, if you touch it, you'll burn your hand. You could just touch it. It doesn't overheat, and this is something that's incredible because with your usual light bulb, what people don't realize is when it gets too hot, it actually starts to deteriorate the lifetime of that LED light bulb. So you might go on the marketplace and you might find these really, really cheap light bulbs with a big heat sink, and they'll be like, yeah, it lasts so long. But if you touch it and it gets hot, it's not going to last you more than 2 or 3 years. And you'll find that out in a couple of years. But with our light bulb, we actually designed special technology to make sure that it never gets hot and it's always warm to the touch.
Well, what does that mean for consumers? Consumer benefits. Well, from the chart behind me, first I have to tell you that our light bulb, like Jimmy was telling you guys, it lasts for 30,000 hours. 30,000 hours, 3万个小时, which actually equates to around 27 years. So in the lifetime of this light bulb, it actually pays for itself. Very easily said. Now, if you look at it using incandescents or energy-saving light bulbs, you're actually spending a lot more during the lifetime of our light bulb. So definitely, it's a direct cost benefit. But let's take a look at what it means on the commercial side, right? So when you're using it for hotels, buildings, shopping malls. Well, a case study here for an average size airport in China. In China, you actually, in the airport in China, for a mid-sized one, it actually needs about 10,000 lighting fixtures. Lighting fixtures that need to keep the light bulb on for more than 18 hours a day. That is tons of electricity being wasted. Now, if you were to change all those light bulbs to our Nanoleaf light bulb, thank you, Wendy, then it would actually save electricity costs. What does that mean? It would actually cost only around 530,000, excuse me, renminbi per year. That is a huge annual cost saving, and of course, it is great for the environment. Now, this model is only the beginning.
So we have some interesting technology that's coming up in the future. We're currently working on a new dimmable light bulb, and it's a very unique and innovative light bulb. Can't release too much details about it, but the concept behind it is that people don't always want to use their light at full energy or off, right? If you use it somewhere in between, you end up actually saving a lot more energy. We also have some new commercial lighting technology that's coming out that will revolutionize the way that our shopping centers, our retail outlets, grocery stores will be able to light up their spaces. We also have other technology around home automation, and there's a lot of other companies out there that are coming up with innovative ways to control your lighting at home in order for you to save energy, and we want to be able to plug into that so that we could also help push our energy-efficient products onto the market. So next, I wanted to share with you guys a quick video on what makes our product different. And this is actually more on the manufacturing side. So as you can see here, this isn't your typical LED light bulb. Okay, it's manufactured from a flat PCB board. So we print out these PCB boards, and then it's folded into the shape of a light bulb. There's actually a lot less material that's being used in order to create this light bulb. Instead of having a big aluminum heatsink, and for those of you that know manufacturing, creating that aluminum heatsink is actually a very, very dirty process. A lot of people often ask us, you know, you're in Shenzhen, you have an LED company, there's hundreds of you. What makes Nanoleaf different, right? So your typical LED company, what they do is they go out onto the market and they source different parts and components. So they source a power supply, they source an LED part, they source a heatsink, and they put it all together and put their label on it and say, okay, this is our product. And it's no wonder that all of these LED companies, they end up coming up with products that are pretty much the same specifications, same look, same feel, and nothing innovative, right? What we did was we recreated the whole thing, and we innovated down to the manufacturing level in order to create a light bulb that was completely unique and totally different.
So this is our last stop of our tour, and it's in Guangzhou. It means a great deal to us because this is where we started. This is where Nanoleaf, the product, came to be. Since earlier this year, in January, after the Chinese New Year, we opened our new headquarters office in Shenzhen, Nanshan. Have a great tons of staff right now, about 20. A few of them are here actually today. You know, we're hiring engineers, manufacturers, manufacturing people, quality control, HR, merchandiser. We're building up a big team. At the same time, the supply chain, the LED manufacturers, the assemblers, our whole supply chain vendors are all here across China, and they're so good because they're so close to us. It allows us to visit them, have meetings face-to-face, develop, innovate, right? On-site QC, samples. It allows us to do that just within an hour drive. This is the uniqueness, the specialty of being here in China, and they always keep up to date with LED technology. China now, here in the southern part of China, in Guangzhou, in Shenzhen, is known as the leading edge for LED innovation. And that's why we're really happy to be here. Moving forward, in the next year, in 2014 and 2015, we hope to expand, right? We want to align with distribution partners all across China. We want to partner them to promote this Nanoleaf green energy movement. We want to get our products across all of China, get everyone using our bulb. And at the same time, We want to partner with top university students, bright university students, engineers, 中科院, right? To partner with these people, innovate the next cool product that will impact the world. And of course, with the support of the government, we definitely want to collaborate with local property developers, hotel builders, airport builders, and try to push out our commercial lighting there, because I think that's where we can make the biggest impact in energy saving. So I guess, in closing, we are very happy to be here. We think that Nanoleaf in China has an enormous potential to make a difference through a population of 1.3 billion people. We started here, our products were made here, we are manufacturing here, so why not grow together to make the biggest impact that we can in energy efficiency, starting from right here in China. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.